buildings collapsed. This church feeling the brunt of the earthquake. It's feared that many remain trapped. One man, you see him there using a hammer trying to break through part of a collapsed building. Hospitals are overwhelmed with the injured, these people being treated outside.
Tonight, a frantic search for survivors is underway after the massive earthquake that ravaged southwestern Haiti. The race against time is even more urgent with Tropical Storm Grace barreling toward the country.
A lot of damages, a lot of dead and injured people. And for the moment, you know, it's really hard for the Haitian people.
Today, the death toll more than doubled here, skyrocketing to more than 700. At least 3,000 people are injured. U.S. search and rescue teams and the Coast Guard are rushing in supplies as the Haitian government declares a state of emergency. But this one's epicenter was not as close to the capital, the country's most populated area. Still, there have been at least 17 confirmed aftershocks, and there are fears here the death toll could keep rising.
It was unbelievable.
Buildings have collapsed and a number of deaths have been reported. The epicenter was about 160 kilometers west of the capital, Port-au-Prince. The disaster-plagued nation is still recovering from the earthquake in 2010 that killed more than 200,000 people.
The unprecedented earthquake left close to about 1,800 people injured, and the situation is said to be getting worse on an hourly basis. Healthcare systems are already overwhelmed with patients as injured people are still being brought to the hospitals. The government is also leading the evacuation efforts. Rescue workers are working continuously to try see if they can pull more people out of the rubble.
Haiti is already in turmoil just 1 month after the assassination of the president there, and the humanitarian crisis may only get worse with Tropical Storm Grace now approaching the island. Rob Marciano joins us with the track in a moment, but we begin with ABC's Elwin Lopez.
Tonight, devastation in western Haiti. That massive 7.2 earthquake leaving hundreds dead. In Lakai, a sign of hope as people pull a woman and a child from the rubble. Another man covered in dust carried out of what's left of this building. The injured treated in the open air. The country's hospitals stretched thin. The sheer destruction seen everywhere you look. This hotel reduced to piles of debris, people believed to be inside. Rescuers cutting through concrete in search of survivors. The acting prime minister.
7.2, but the depth only 6 miles under the surface, and this is a very shallow depth. So when you have shallow earthquakes like this, those seismic waves reach the surface very quickly, and it can be more abrupt, almost like a bomb going off in terms of the shaking just out of nowhere. It doesn't take as long for those seismic waves to go through the Earth's crust and reach it to the surface, but rather it happens very abruptly, and it can be very intense shaking that you get with very shallow earthquakes such as this one. For perspective, this is kind of the location, the yellow circles of where today's main earthquake and aftershocks are versus the 2010 quake, which was closer to the capital city of Port-au-Prince.